Welcome to the Money Vikings podcast, where we conquer financial freedom. Join Greg, Jerry, and Bob as they discuss everything investing and personal finance. The Money Vikings podcast is hosted by three dads who are doing what they can each day to burn down debt and build wealth. Learn the path to true wealth. Their podcast and website, moneyvikings.com, is a treasure trove of ideas. So without further ado, here they are, the Money Vikings.
Space. The final frontier, to boldly go where no billionaire has gone before. Wait a minute, they all went. Okay, Captain Kirk really goes and it blows his mind. Welcome to the Money Vikings podcast number 55. Jerry, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, dude.
Hey, dude.
we're missing a Bob tonight, but that's okay.
Who?
I don't know. I don't know who this guy is.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm having a great time in our premium Discord. So, just getting to know everybody and this just wealth building community and talking about ideas and doing the charting. And we're not in there like every day, but we're in there a few days a week. And it's just neat. I mean, just sharing the ideas, kind of like troubleshooting with people, like, they lost money here, but then they're going to grow it here. And
right.
like, you know what I mean? Like giving like new ideas. So
that's really fun. I mean, the few times I've popped in, it's been very entertaining. And I always enjoy watching Bob share the technicals and hearing you talk about the dividend plays and everything. So I hope to get in there more. And I hope to get some people asking about options and talking about iron condors and stuff in there as well.
Well, they are. And I was thinking about the other day, Jerry, and I was thinking that like we all three of us, I'm going to write about, they're all bringing, different things to the fight, and I know we all do similar investing as well, but, you're bringing the options plays that can do well in all environments. Bob's bringing the charting, I'm bringing the, dividends and the real estate and all this stuff. And I just think if somebody if people are combining these things, and of course we don't give investment advice, but we're showing what we do. But if they combine these things, it's been very successful for us and could help other people. So I don't know. I'm having fun. They're just great people too. Like really, to just get to know people.
It's a nice, fun premium community. And by the way, if you do want to subscribe and join our premium membership, become an MVP, Money Vikings premium person, you could go to our website, moneyvikings.com. And when you check out, after you add the subscription to your cart, just type in TMV Listen in there for 30% off.
TMV Listen. Love it.
Yeah.
We do keep our promises to our members. So I'm supposed to talk about, I'm on the record saying that I'm going to mention Matrix and Neo on every podcast from now on. So Matrix 4 is December 2021.
Okay. I think it's just until the movie premieres. I don't think you have to do it on every podcast for the rest of time.
I don't. But, for like the next decade.
Maybe our friend can clarify. Or you have to replay what you said on record and go back and make sure you correct yourself.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get out of that one a little bit. But
yeah.
Hey, listen. So we're a few days past this now, and the way the news cycle goes, probably real news. But we are going to talk about space investing, and we do talk about investing in space on a few of our shows. But I think what really hit me this week, and I was moved by this, was because I'm a big Star Trek geek. I'm a next gen guy, but William Shatner at 90 years old was launched into space on Jeff Bezos's big rocket there. But it was truly, actually, I think the cool thing about it is he was, he's an artist, right? He's an actor, but he's
an author. He's a lot of things.
Yeah. That's true. He's a musician. You're right.
Got a rap career.
He's a rap career. Well, Bill Shatner has a rap career. But he
Mr. Tambourine Man.
Well, you got to watch this guy. I got a real kick out of of watching his interviews on this, and I don't know, Jerry, if you caught some of them, but he was truly moved by the experience and just this idea of, you launched into space and you get 50 miles past this, skin of the planet, And all of a sudden, you're weightless and you're in space, and you're looking at the black void of like death in space, and then you're looking back at all life as we know it, right? And I found it poetic and very interesting. He was struck by the fragility of the planet, the way it sort of touched his soul and all that. But yeah, he just said, he did say some poignant things. He said, "I wish I had better news and more entertainment and jokes to tell you." He literally said he was trying to think about a joke on the way up. Right. He's like, what am I going to say? That's kind of plucky. But he said he got up there and he was so moved to tears that he's like, I didn't have a joke anymore. He's like, it's just beautiful, and he was filled with empathy. So anyway, I thought that was cool.
That's beautiful.
And look what you're going to be doing at 90 there, Jerry. at 90, dude, do you? I mean, I hope we are look as good at 90 as Bill Shatner. I mean, just rocking it out there in space.
Yeah, he does look good for 90. I actually I didn't meet him, but I saw him in person when I was a kid. My mom's a Trekkie, big time Trekkie. Went to Star Trek conventions and stuff for the original Star Trek, and she took me to some event at a mall where he was just there. I don't know, to promote something or other. Cool.
I'm making a note here. Reason number 78 that I really like your mom. Okay, your mom is a very nice lady, by the way. She really is. Yeah. She's a cool lady.
Trekkie, really. Yeah, and went to Star Trek conventions. Put that in your notebook.
Yeah, it's going in my book here, dude.
I'll have to tell her to listen to this one.
She's got to. So before we go into more of the space investing, because this is an investing show, we always kind of go through some of the news items that affect us as investors. I've got a few, but what do you have, Jer? You got a couple that you want to mention?
Yeah, I got a couple. The new Bitcoin ETF is very close to being approved. We're recording this on Monday evening, about 8 p.m. Pacific, on October 18th.
I think it is, and it's a futures.
It's a futures one as opposed to a spot one, which I believe is what we all really want when we talk about Bitcoin ETFs. The futures one, I think this is what I don't understand, honestly, is the grayscale Bitcoin ETF, GBTC. Kathy even puts that in her funds for Bitcoin exposure. How is that different, what we're getting tomorrow, than this GBTC that already exists?
That is a good question that I don't want to mislead anyone on the nuances of. I mean, the big thing I did read was, and I guess this is what I don't get about a lot of these things, is why wouldn't you just buy Bitcoin? I guess, you know what I mean, or Ethereum. I mean, I'm all for this concept of an ETF for right, like I think it's like a legitimizing force. Is that right? Like, it's like, oh wow, like these big institutions are making a product out of this asset, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, even if somebody's against like Robinhood or something, I mean, you can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin on Robinhood.
Yeah, the reason I was really excited about it was because I could do that in my brokerage, or not my brokerage, but my my IRA accounts or my Roth accounts, retirement accounts. I do want to have some crypto exposure in my retirement accounts and let them grow. In a tax-free environment as long as possible. And that was kind of impossible to do before. Now I should be able to go to, my brokerage and be able to find this ETF tomorrow and purchase some in my Roth IRA if I feel like it. And I was using GBTC instead, just because I didn't have another proxy for Bitcoin. So I'll take a look at this and see, maybe I will use it to add some exposure. There's other ways now, of course, to open Roth IRAs, and in Bitcoin, you can do it on Tasty Trade, and I see ads for it all over the place. But I don't want to open another account. I just want to have exposure to it in my existing accounts and move on with my life.
Well, now you just blew my mind. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Are you thinking the same thing?
No, I was not. I mean, I just think it's great. That's why I'm saying you blew my mind. That's like a great.
I thought maybe you were going to do it. I convinced you to.
No,
think about it.
I was, in a way, I've been doing direct Bitcoin exposure.
Sure.
Right. And then the other thing that I've read is that, If it's kind of funny in a way, if you own like one of Kathy's ARK funds, you kind of own some Bitcoin, or if you own like Tesla has a bunch of Bitcoin. I mean, Tesla's made a bunch of money off of Bitcoin, haven't they?
Right. No, they certainly, they did. So, they had some on their books, and they took some off. And it's a whole thing. And remember when Bitcoin took a nosedive a few months ago? I don't want to revisit all that.
I do, and I just never know. But I'll give you a reason.
Over 60.
I'll give you a reason for Bitcoin, so we can kind of piggyback here on news items. But Carl Icahn, who I've been talking about a little bit because of that investment I was sharing with you, the Icahn Industries and that really high yield, which continues to go up for some reason and has a really high yield, but it's a huge industrial conglomerate. But anyway, he said this week that in the long run, he says he really believes the markets are going to hit a wall because of the printing of money and the inflationary pressures there. He just thinks, and he's not one of these people that can is going to say when that's going to happen, but he's he just doesn't think the math makes sense. And if we just keep printing money and all the kind of printing that we had to do to get out of the pandemic and out of these these sort of crises, these existential crises that we seem to hit, he just thinks that that's going to be pretty bad in the long run. So I don't know, is that a Bitcoin, is that good for Bitcoin?
Potentially. I mean, nobody knows.
Morgan Stanley's CEO said, "I do not think crypto is a fad." So I don't know. So I like to follow the the ARK genomics stuff, which actually hasn't been doing well. That company CRISPR was down because this is what I read. Investors were underwhelmed by the results of a study where they were fighting some kind of disease. I think it was some form of cancer, but it showed that 36% of the 26 patients who received the drug had a complete response with no detectable disease. Now, I guess my take is that that seemed like an overreaction to me, because I was thinking to myself, I don't know, 36% of the people were cured? I mean, that to me sounded pretty awesome, but apparently the market didn't like it and the investors didn't like it. I guess they were expecting a near perfect rate. I don't know. But that one continued. But to me, it shows again investing in biotech is a hard one, I think, to figure out, right?
There's a lot of risk there.
There's a lot of risk. I mean, there's great science, and early stage success doesn't always translate, I guess, into drug approvals. So in fact, I read when I was doing some of my due diligence on this stuff, I read that 10% of drug candidates that enter phase 1 trials will make it to the market. Only 10%. Mm-hmm. So that's not that, that's a pretty low success rate.
Yes.
But anyway, that's why I still like things like these ETFs and these funds, because you're not picking the exact winner, right? You're picking a basket of companies. And I guess the idea is, if 10% of those companies become blockbusters, blockbuster drugs are make multiple billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So there's a
reason. They only need one or two in their pipeline to work. They could have hundreds or thousands, but they only need a few really for it's just, the trick is to pick the right one.
Yeah. So there you go. So I keep reading, and I want to get your thoughts on this. So I keep reading that value stocks are poised to have their day again. Yeah. So, I like exposure to value. That's why I go to my, Berkshire and J&J and the Vanguard Value Fund. But I like having, 20% of the portfolio in value, maybe more at times. Right. And I guess the idea for me, I'd like to get your take on this, but the idea to me is quite simple. Value stocks, it's just like it sounds. These are typically well-established companies that have cash flow, that have gone through many types of economic environments, have a product that people want and buy and are continually wanting and buying. And they just, for whatever reason, they've fallen out of favor, right? The stock has kind of not been doing that well, or it's a little bit undervalued.
Sure.
But a lot of these companies are cash cows. There's no reason that they shouldn't have a strong stock price that's going up.
Right.
So what do you do with value? I mean, do you have any particular focus on it, or?
So I just looked up my, this is back in June, but my large cap value allocation is 27.68%.
Well, there you go.
So, I mean, that seems good.
Yeah, definitely.
And growth is 34, a little higher.
Okay.
So,
nice.
So actually a lot of value. I got value in the mid small cap area and the large cap area. If you were to add all that up, it'd be almost 50%.
Well, having value exposure apparently is a thing to do over the next 10 years. So we'll see.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I'm
happy
with it now, and so I hope I continue to be. That's all I ask for.
Well, so this has this show has kind of a space theme, right? Like we do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the basic way I look at this, Jerry, is that we seem to be creatures that need to explore and push the boundaries, right? We're not happy with the status quo. We're not happy sitting on our hands. Like we look up in the heavens and we're like, we got to go there. And the nice thing in the modern age is that if you're a billionaire, you can do it.
Yeah. Or an astronaut.
Or an astronaut. That's true. No, but I mean, I think you'll agree that I do think so. I'm being a little bit like silly here, but there are a ton of ways now to make money in space that are growing, I think. And I think this is one of those macro trends again, right? Because we're going to continue to put satellites into space. We're going to continue to do space exploration. We're going to try to get on other planets. We're going to use technology in space to monitor our own planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
To keep track of climate, different conditions, predict things. So we use space to communicate, right? We're doing this podcast right now, and we talk to everybody because we have satellites, right?
Yep.
So there are billions of people on the planet that don't have access to these types of technologies, and they want them, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least I think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to push the boundaries. We're going to utilize space for commercial purposes, and China's building like a massive space, like Death Star. I mean, hello. So.
Are we in a new space race now?
I think we are. I mean, I'm like a middle class dude in America. Like I'm no expert, but I think we are, from what I can read. I mean, if you have the world superpowers like building their own like massive space stations, I think that's something. I mean, I don't think it's all nefarious. I mean, I think a lot of it is, again, like I said, I mean, humans want to push the boundaries of things. There's probably a lot of like experimentation and like labs that you can like experiment with like different chemistry and biology and stuff like that in space. And maybe we'll discover things about our life, So I don't know. I mean, I think the other thing, I think that deep space exploration is going to take a long time, but it's going to require autonomy and robotics, right? So you've got ARKX, investments there. There's all kinds of investments right now in autonomy and robotics that are going to be used on the planet. But I think a ton of this stuff is going to be used. I mean, did you see that movie with Matt Damon, like when he was on Mars?
Oh yeah, I read the book. Yeah, it was a great movie.
Dude, great movie, but that place does not look that cool. I mean, it looks cool, but not cool. Like I want to go hang out there. Like I'd much rather go to
The
Hawaii.
Martian, by the way, for those listeners that don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, not The Matrix 4, which is coming out in December. It's The Martian. But that movie was cool, but like I would much rather go to Hawaii. Like I don't want to go there and like hang out and try to like grow my own crops from like, here's moisture in the air. Like let's try to condense it down and grow a pea. I don't know, man. Let's go to Hawaii. There's plenty of fruits and vegetables, lots of fish.
And there's plenty of space investments that we can make, as you were to your earlier point, that have to do with satellites and just things that go on here on Earth. But it's still very exciting. It's part of space. It's not necessarily exploration or colonizing Mars, but it has involvement with space. And it makes our life on Earth better. GPS's work,
Oh yeah, GPS, telecommunications. I'm sure there's all kinds of maybe they'll be able to, develop I don't know, like maybe there'll be minerals that are unknown that we can pull off of asteroids and we can develop new medicines, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That's a
man.
great idea.
I mean, who knows what's out there? I mean, it's we're constantly, I don't know. The world blows my mind every year. It's like a new thing comes out. I mean, you know, we're not that old, but like we're old enough where like you and I, we didn't grow up with cell phones and like smartphones that are like computers in your pocket. I mean, when I was a teenager, like you were just like, bye mom, like, you know, I'm gonna go ride my skateboard for 24 hours, and she's like, I don't know where he is, like just come back for some pizza. I mean,
different world now.
So so I don't know what you're doing in terms of space investing, or if you're even focusing on this journey.
I am not focused at all on space investing. As a, you know, I've got my lithium, I've got my commodities, I've got, you know, the psychedelics, but space is not an area that, and it's not because of non-interest. It's just I haven't really looked at all the different companies. I've traded space and done strangles and iron condors, and that's kind of it, but not as a long-term investment. And so you bringing up this show is making me reconsider that. I would. For me, I'm gonna place a bet on it. And you know, for me, I'm thinking like if you did like 5% of assets into a few of these, it'd be a nice way to harness the power of it. And again, what I think is a macro trend. I mean, it's just something that's not, it's not going to stop, I don't think. And what are some tickers that you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, so I've traditionally stuck with ARKX, but that's not the only one. I mean, so people know about that one. You can do UFO, which is the Procure Space ETF.
That's a great name.
Right? Best name ever. Space-related exchange traded fund, UFO. But this fund includes things like, but you know, what would surprise people is, I would just say this, you know, do some research on this, look up the different space ETFs, and then look at the companies within them, because it'll surprise you. I mean, like for example, this UFO one, it has Boeing in it. I mean, that's a classic. You know, Boeing hasn't done well for a while, but maybe that's the time to buy it, right? When it's not doing well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I don't think Boeing is going to.
But they're making equipment that can be used in space, or have plans to.
I think that's the idea. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you've got stuff like that. I know. Like traditionally, I haven't looked recently at Kathy's ARK, but like ARKX has held things like I think like they've had like Caterpillar. And Deere, I'm sorry, Deere, because of Deere's autonomy, right? Robotics and autonomy.
Right.
And so a lot of that's going to be launched to different planets. You know, some of these ETFs have Amazon, right? For obvious reasons, I guess. Virgin Galactic, you know, the other billionaire that hangs out in space. You know, so
Did you see the Saturday Night Live where they both flew into space?
I wish I did.
You got to watch that.
Tell me about it.
You just got to watch it, and I just need to Google it. It was very recent, and it was Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson and just all the rich guys in space flying around. It was pretty cool.
That's cool. Well, I guess that's how this stuff starts historically, right? I mean, it's always like these rich dudes and ladies that basically have all these resources at their hands, and they just want to go do something, and they're interested in it, and they're able to just bring together the massive brain power and efforts of thousands of human beings just through their capital, right, to focus in on solving one problem, and they end up doing it. I mean, that's what Musk has done. You know, SpaceX has been amazing. He's been able to take all the money he made from PayPal and Tesla, and you know, maybe not Tesla, but he took all his money from PayPal and put it into SpaceX, and there you go. I mean, now the guy like re-lands rockets. I mean,
I know, and Starlink should be very interesting too. It's going to be on jets, on airplanes. It's going to be ground-based internet, and that'll be exciting when it IPOs or SPACs or whatever.
So there's an example of something that helps life on the Earth. I mean, it's through space investing, but it's helping the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My favorite, one of the things I heard years ago that kept me invested in Tesla when I was thinking about selling is that I think it was the Oracle CEO Ellison or whatever. He was like, he's I think he's buddies with Musk, and he's like, don't bet. He's like, don't bet against the guy that like launches rockets into space and then lands them perfectly back on a pad to reuse them. He's like, that's not the guy that you bet against, because like if he can do that, he probably can do a lot of, or muster the power of a lot of brains, to
Definitely.
That's kind of cool. But anyway, I don't know. That's my synopsis on space. I would just encourage people to do their own due diligence and research. But to me, it's a macro trend that is part of my portfolio, and
that's
will
awesome.
be for a few years. Yeah. Until I get launched. What do you got cooking next week here, Jerry, for trades, and what else is going on?
Mildly up day. I think Dow down a little bit, S&P, NASDAQ up a little, Russell struggling, I think up a little. But for this week, I've entered there's a lot of earnings this week. So one of the trades that I'm looking at is IBM, and I entered a calendar in IBM. So what I'm doing is I'm shorting on Friday a at the money call, and then on the November 19th expiration, I'm going long the at the money call, and I'm trying to make about $250 out of this. And it's just kind of a wait till Friday and see how things go. And then I have this nice range between 137 and 152 where I'll make some money.
Nice.
If it stays there, of course. If not, I'll have to figure out ways to manage it. And then I'm also following Tasty Trade on a NOB spread, which means notes over bonds. And I'm trading I'm long the 10-year notes, and I'm short the 30-year bond. And so that's an interesting one that's it's a pair trade. And what it does is it capitalizes on the spread between the 30-year and the 10-year. If the 30-year is like 2% and the 10-year is 1.5, just for example, that's 50 basis point spread. So that's you enter that. I entered the trade for $500 debit. And the idea is that make $100 on it. So either I'll make 100 or lose 100, kind of betting on the mean reversion of the NOB spread. So it's a very interesting trade. I'm just trying to learn about rates and bonds and how they work together.
Never thought I'd hear you say the mean reversion of the NOB spread. It's amazing. That is a really wild. Well, nice. I'm adding some BABA. So just that's kind of one thing I've been looking at this week.
Awesome.
I'm trying to. I'm BABA. I mean, it's probably a little monkey pants, right? But I'm trying to do that whole sort of like, when everybody's fearful, right? Add some. I mean, because it just seems like everybody got sour on China, and there's all this fear about Evergrande and all that, and I get it. I mean, I'm not an expert in thinking that I know what's going to happen, but I just think that company is going to be around and do fine.
I have XI, which is China overall, and I closed it today. It's done well, and maybe I'll open another one. I just like to play China long right now. It just seems like so beat up that it is turning around. I think on Sunday there were some GDP numbers that they didn't meet, and I was worried that FXI was going to go the wrong way, but it kept going up today, and so I closed it. I hit my target.
That's awesome. Well, that's what I got for this show here, Jerry. Any last words?
Have a good rest of your trading and investing week, and we hope you are able to join us on the Money Vikings new premium service. So if you want to join our club, it's moneyvikings.com, and when you're checking out, put TMV Listen, the Money Vikings. It's TMV Listen into the coupon code in your shopping cart. When you check out, you'll get 30% off.
Have a good
All
one,
right,
Jerry.
buddy.